When you first visited the airfield at the start of your flight training, you might have had a feeling that is common for beginning students. I may be able to fly one of those things, but takeoffs and landings, that looks tricky. It isn't easy, but on the other hand, you know by now that it isn't as difficult as it looked that first day. To clear up any confusion that may still remain in your mind, we will spend the next few minutes...
Why don't you lay off the chit-chat and just tell them we're going to show them how to get up in the air and back down again without busting nothing.
If you'd give me a chance, that's just what I was coming to.
We all read the title at the beginning of the picture. Let's go.
Why did I ever let you in here? Okay, we'll go. Here is an airfield with the wind direction indicated. Traffic into and out of the airfield follows a definite pattern like this. We will use one runway for simplification. Each part of the pattern has a name. The takeoff leg, the crosswind leg, the downwind leg, the base leg, and the final approach. We will discuss the 180-degree side approach using a 1,000-foot pattern. Takeoffs are made into the wind to take advantage of the additional lift initially provided by the wind. After becoming airborne, you climb out on a straight ground track until you reach traffic pattern altitude. You make a 90-degree turn onto the crosswind leg, followed shortly by a 45-degree turn in the opposite direction, either level or climbing, to take you out of the pattern. On returning from your flight, you re-enter the pattern in a definite manner. Enter traffic at a 45-degree angle to the middle third of the downwind leg. As you approach at this angle, watch other aircraft in the pattern and time your entry so that you are properly spaced. Actual landing procedures start here, but we'll deal with these procedures later. You make a 90-degree gliding turn here onto the base leg, then another 90-degree gliding turn onto final, and touch down at the approach end of the runway. The virtues of a traffic pattern are obvious. All traffic is moving in the same direction and at the same altitude. Planes can exit without interfering with incoming planes, and traffic can enter at an angle that gives an excellent view of planes already in the pattern. Now let's deal with the technique to be used in various parts of the pattern. First, takeoff. You have arrived at the number 1 position. You take off next. Set your flaps for takeoff. Now you set your directional gyro to the runway heading and cage it, and complete your pre-takeoff procedure. Taxi out and line up with the center of the runway. As you roll forward, adjust your pedals to make sure that your tail wheel is aligned with your direction of takeoff. Then uncage your directional gyro. Use your power for takeoff correctly. Push it smoothly forward all the way to full power. As the plane rolls forward, hold back pressure on the stick to keep your tail wheel on the ground. Keep your heels planted firmly on the floor throughout the takeoff. As speed builds, you relax back pressure on the stick and allow the aircraft to assume a shallow climbing attitude. You must use the proper elevator control to maintain this pitch attitude, or your tail will continue to rise to level flight attitude. Maintain this shallow climbing attitude until your plane flies itself off the ground. When you're positively airborne, maintain this pitch attitude until the aircraft attains the normal climbing airspeed with flaps, and then reduce power to 2,300 RPM, adjusting pitch attitude to maintain a normal climb. As you climb, track straight down the runway. When you have a safe altitude, retract your flaps to 0, maintaining your pitch attitude by increasing back pressure on the stick as your flaps come up. With flaps up, your airspeed will build to 80 miles an hour. Adjust trim and climb straight out, using a terrain feature dead ahead to hold a straight course. When you reach traffic altitude, clear carefully before turning to crosswind leg. A normal traffic exit is to turn 90 degrees onto the crosswind leg, followed by a 45-degree turn away from traffic. These turns may be level or climbing. Let's take another look at the takeoff. Align the plane and tail wheel with the center of the runway. Hold your stick back and apply throttle in one continuous movement to the full throttle position. Engine torque will tend to turn you to the left, so use right rudder as needed to maintain a straight path. Allow your tail to rise after your rudder becomes effective. During the entire takeoff, your attention is outside the plane. Don't even glance at your controls or instruments. As you become airborne, remember this sequence. Adjust pitch to climb attitude. Reduce power to 2300 RPM. Retract flaps. Turn off auxiliary fuel pump. To simplify it, after breaking ground, think of pitch, power, flaps, and pump. Now let's have a look at the pattern that has to do with landing. As you fly in, check traffic in the pattern. If there is space for you, proceed. If there is not enough space, turn off. Circle back and try again when you see that you will not interfere with any other aircraft in the pattern. Now visualize your plane touching down smoothly. Direct all of your efforts toward bringing that vision